Layoffs in the video game industry are often presented in dramatic headlines. Occasionally, a major studio announces job cuts in public view. But there is another kind of layoff, one that rarely gets media attention, one that happens quietly, behind closed doors, and has profound effects on developers and the industry as a whole. Today, we examine the silent layoffs nobody talks about, how they occur, why they go unreported, and what their impact really means for the people who make the games we play. Unlike high profile layoffs that come with press releases, silent layoffs unfold in subtler ways. Instead of a public announcement, a publisher may let contracts expire without renewal, reassign employees to new projects with smaller teams, shift work to external partners or contractors, absorb a studio without explicitly cutting jobs. On paper, there is no layoff. In reality, dozens, sometimes hundreds, of developers quietly lose their jobs. These employment changes rarely appear in mainstream news, precisely because they are framed as administrative reorganizations rather than personnel reductions. But the human cost is the same. The video game industry is dominated by a small number of large publishers. Electronic Arts, Activision Blizzard, Ubisoft, Take-Two, and Sony, among others. These companies operate on tight profit margins and strict development cycles where budgets are expensive, deadlines are fixed, milestones are monitored by investors. When a game falls short of expectations, financially or technically, publishers often adjust quietly to protect stock value and corporate reputation. Silent layoffs are a strategic choice. They avoid alarming investors. They prevent negative publicity. They reduce backlash from fans. In 2023 and 2024 alone, industry reports documented numerous employment reductions that were never publicly framed as layoffs. Instead, they were described as resource optimization, project realignment, or role redundancy. For example, many major studios have shifted key functions, such as animation, quality assurance, or back-end services, to external outsourcing firms, often overseas. The original in-house teams quietly shrink or disappear. Another form of silent layoffs comes through contract work. In game development, many roles are temporary by design. Artists, programmers, and designers are often hired on a project basis. When the project ends or is canceled, contracts end. Instead of being labeled layoffs, these departures are treated as the natural end of a contract. But for the developers affected, it feels no different from losing a job. This phenomenon was particularly visible during the cancellation of high-profile projects in recent years, such as Fable Legends at Lionhead unreleased titles, at acquired studios, multiplayer titles that failed closed beta tests. In each case, teams were dissolved quietly. The mainstream media mentioned the canceled games, but almost never the hundreds of developers who suddenly had no work. Outsourcing is a business strategy, where large studios farm parts of development to third parties. In theory, this can increase efficiency. In practice, it often allows silent workforce reduction. A studio may keep its brand and headquarters, but core functions are moved to another company. Layoffs are masked as role transfers. Remaining staff are absorbed into different teams. Some major Western studios now rely heavily on collaborators in Eastern Europe, India, or Southeast Asia for animation, modeling, QA, and back-end work. The result is, the studio appears intact, but its original workforce has shrunk significantly. No headline, no press release. Just fewer developers in the same office. Publishers avoid publicizing layoffs, especially silent ones, for several reasons. Investors react negatively. Public layoffs can affect stock price. Publishers want stability, not headlines. Reputation management. Gamers care about product quality, not corporate restructuring. A public layoff can shift the narrative from upcoming release to studio in crisis, legal and contractual nuance. By framing reductions as reorganizations or contract expirations, publishers minimize legal obligations, severance issues, and obligations to employees. The real toll of silent layoffs is rarely measured in press clips. It is measured in careers disrupted, families affected, talented developers pushed out of the industry. Those who remain in the field often describe a sense of insecurity, always waiting for the next quiet restructuring. Unlike a major layoff that can be protested or publicly opposed, silent layoffs leave little room for collective response. There are no press conferences, no unions forming, no headline outcry, just empty desks and resumes sent into the void. The real toll of silent layoffs is rarely measured in press clips. It is measured in careers disrupted, families affected, talented developers pushed out of the industry. Those who remain in the field often describe a sense of insecurity, always waiting for the next quiet restructuring. Unlike a major layoff that can be protested or publicly opposed, silent layoffs leave little room for collective response. There are no press conferences, no unions forming, no headline outcry, just empty desks and resumes sent into the void. Silent layoffs may lack drama, but they are real. They are structural. They are ongoing. And until the industry stops treating people as interchangeable parts, these quiet disappearances will continue. In video games, the stories behind the games deserve as much attention as the games themselves.